The amount of forgiveness and mercy that we believe that Allah has, that we don't even care, that we place value on very materialistic things, that we don't even think for a second. I'm going to place value in Allah. I'm going to pray. I'm going to make sure I pray my 5 prayers on time. Can you imagine? We make so many excuses for prayers. When we are late from work, we're like, "Oh, I don't have time to pray." Or you rush through prayers, right? Like there's a problem with that. And we have to open our eyes and see that. We have to think deeply in our hearts, why am I rushing my meeting with Allah when these things will always be there? For instance, school, like if I'm late to class, that class is always going to be there. I'm going to be able to go to that class late and catch up on assignments. But I'm meeting Allah. I'm meeting Allah 5 times a day, and I'm going to be late to that. When we are in the grave and we are questioned about what we did on our time on earth, and we are questioned about why we didn't pray 5 times a day, are you going to use those same excuses? No, when you turn in an assignment to class late and you email the professor and you're like, please accept this assignment because I turned this assignment in late because I was working overnight, or I was going through some struggle, whatever excuse it is you make for school. Can you make that when you are face to face with Allah? Can you? Don't you think that sounds silly when you're in front of Allah and you're like, yeah, I miss prayers because of work. I had to work. Well, the world is, you're done and we're done. We're not going to be in the world anymore. All of that was insignificant. All of that doesn't matter. That was to contribute to society. But in the eyes of Allah, what matters most is, did we live a life according to how He wanted us to live by following His guidance? Our Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, the best among us are those who have the best manners and character. He didn't say those who have the most money. He didn't say those who have the most gold and who are the prettiest and fit all the beauty standards. He said the best amongst us are those who have the best manners and character. When you are steadfast in prayer and you are strengthening your connection with Allah, you'll begin to see beauty in people who have stronger faith than you. When I'm at the masjid and I'm praying next to somebody who you can just tell, right? It's not about wearing a hijab or a niqab or what you see on the outside. You can just tell with their character, the way they carry themselves. It's an aura. And it's so beautiful. It's like Noor. They're literally Noor. They're like, I don't know, when I pray next to somebody who I perceive to have really strong iman, I feel like good. It makes me want to be like that. It makes me want to have the connection with Allah that they have. That's the most admirable kinds of people to me. When you doubt your beauty, the best thing for you to do is take a look at your life and the people you surround yourself with. Because your peers, the people you're around, affect you. They affect the way you practice your faith. Do you think the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, amongst them, his companions and families, do you think he was mostly surrounded by people who were not steadfast and following him and guide amongst the guidance of Allah? They were following his guidance from Allah. They were praying, they were fasting with him, they were migrating with him, they were fighting in war with him. He was constantly surrounded by people who were at his level of faith. Really think about the media that you are consuming, whether that is books you're reading, podcasts you're listening to, on social media. What kind of content are you listening to? What kind of people are you following on social media? What kind of influence are these people having on your life? Because believe it or not, all the content you're consuming is impacting you. Even the music you listen to, whether or not you think it impacts you. Certain type of music, when you listen to sad songs, they make you sad. When you listen to upbeat songs, they make you feel upbeat. When you listen to confident boosters, they make you feel confident. Now, all this impact you get from listening to music, if you're trying to strengthen your faith and your connection with Allah and you're struggling, listen to Quran. There is not a single music that matches the beauty from listening to Quran. And also nasheeds. Listen to things that are going to strengthen your faith. And in terms of media, the media that you're consuming, for example, social media, follow accounts that inspire you to wear the hijab and to be stronger in your faith. Follow accounts that embody the kind of Muslim that you want to be. There's this one Muslimah that I follow, and she's very young, and every time I see her video on my For You page, I instantly smile. Like, my mood is lifted because her video brings so much joy. The way she talks about Allah, the way she talks about Islam, the nur, everybody talks about this, the nur on her face when she talks about Islam and the Quran, and she shares her advice as a Muslim woman. It's so beautiful and it's so inspiring, and it makes me feel more confident and heard and felt in my faith. And watch people who are inspiring you to be stronger in faith. Like, it makes a huge difference, whether or not you believe it does, but it definitely makes a huge difference. Last year, during Ramadan, I deleted all my social media posts. And since then, I haven't felt any guilt about it. I felt like this weight that was on me was lifted when I deleted it, right? Because when you're spreading media that is displeasing to Allah, think about the amount of sins that pile up from people who are consuming that media, right? But when you're spreading the deen and you're spreading Islam, you're gaining a lot of ajr for that. And so really think about the media that you're consuming, because that affects the way that you perceive yourself. If you're consuming media of majority Western people, then you're going to feel like you're lacking in some sense. Versus when you're consuming media people who look like you and people who are striving to be or are the type of people that you want to be, then it's going to make you feel a lot more better and as if you were on the right path, right? So I really encourage you to do that. And another thing that I wanted to mention is you don't have to give up on things that make you happy, that you feel enhances your beauty. Like makeup, I discourage wearing a lot of makeup, anything that changes your natural features. But, looking a little more presentable, especially if you are someone who's working and you're around a lot of people, it can make you feel more confident when you look presentable and clean and pleasant, non-distracting, but clean scented lotion or perfume or body oils. And it makes me feel good. And it makes me feel more confident in myself. So that's how I help myself boost my confidence and my self-esteem, is by taking care of myself. And another thing is, wearing the hijab doesn't mean I'm going to neglect taking care of my hair. And when I was younger, that was my mentality. I did not take care of my hair when I was younger. Literally put on a hijab and I went out and my hair was like dying inside. It was super dry and just, it was horrible. And then I realized, well, my mentality back then was, no one can see my hair, so I don't have to take care of it. Now looking back at it, the problem with that mentality is I'm essentially telling myself that there's no value in taking care of myself if other people cannot perceive it. There's no value in working out or being fit because I dress modestly anyway, so no one else can see it. You're essentially saying that you are not beautiful. You are not worth anything to take care of, right? Because Allah gave us health. Allah created us. Who are we to destroy what Allah created? Who are we to neglect what Allah created, right? When you look at it that way, it changes everything. Who are we to eat a bunch of sugary junk food when there are natural food that Allah created for us to gain nutrients and hydrate ourselves from, that we choose to destroy and neglect our body with food that is unhealthy for us? Who are we to destroy our bodies that Allah created for us by not taking care of it? And so you have to understand that these are things that you shouldn't be doing for other people. These are things that you should do for yourself. But brushing my eyebrows, moisturizing my lips, moisturizing my skin. It doesn't matter if anyone can't see that. That's for Allah, and that's because I value myself and I value myself as a creation of God. So, as long as you're not physically changing yourself and the way that you look, there's nothing wrong with taking care of yourself, and it's absolutely encouraged and a part of your faith to take care of yourself, and to we have to look at it in this way that I don't want to neglect, I don't want to devalue my health that Allah has given me. Just remember, Allah gave you beauty. We should never use that beauty to disobey Allah. And a perfect example of that is Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. He was the most handsome of all men, right? But he never, ever, ever used his beauty as a license to commit sin. He was known for his character and his steadfast in faith. And as a Muslim, we should try and embody the prophets, and especially the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his character. He was known to smile. He was known to treat people with kindness, right? That's the characteristics that we need to try and embody as Muslims. So really think about that. And as a Muslim, how does that reflect who you want to be? How does that reflect how you view yourself in the eyes of Allah? And really, really ask yourself, do I value being a member of society, or do I value being a follower of Islam?